tech geek. And it's not tech geek which you have formed, the community. The community that you have formed is for yourself. You can take this community elsewhere. You can have the similar thing, some organization that you work with have called these guys on a forum like this. Call them over, had a discussion with them, one-to-one, not in the hiring this thing, but to have a discussion, panel discussion. So there would be panel and these guys would be asking questions and they are answering, experts would be answering. So it changes a whole lot of things. So now, organization also gets a little selfish in terms of कि मेरा company है तो मेरा technology वाला बंदा आना चाहिए करीब. So when I'm saying if you're doing a search algorithm seminar, you should get somebody who's from the search algorithm. So you should get somebody from Google, and not from if HCL is sponsoring, you get from HCL itself. So that itself gets the kind of audience that you're looking for, change in the audience that you're looking for. Huge impact.
So actually that brings us to the last part of our discussion. We are, this is how the social media behavior of the candidate is changing. So maybe even from 3-4 years back, when social media was just about having a LinkedIn profile or having a Facebook profile, there's a lot more happening on the social media. It has moved beyond LinkedIn, Facebook. It has moved beyond having just professional or personal profiles. There are discussions happening, valuable discussions happening. There are, employees seeking out information about their employers, commenting on their employers' behavior. There are employees who are listed in these niche communities and who are looking to attain ranks, etc., and prove themselves within their communities. So are organizations taking all this into account and changing, are you changing your recruitment behavior? Are you changing your recruitment processes to suit this social media behavior, if you have to call it that?
I would definitely say yes. You've already started that.
It's a need of an hour, I think.
It's a need of the hour, right? The so-called recruiter that I have today, what I had yesterday is not what's going to happen, tomorrow. So I definitely need to look at traits which are going to be much more different than what I would do for a recruiter. And we've already made those changes, right? The point that I was trying to say is we got two different wings altogether with the recruitment. It's split. You have one team, typically what you have the hunters and farmers, right? Yes. I would call these guys the hunters who are going to look out for the market, look out for those guys, and then feed in back to the recruiters who would then get into the normal HR due diligence and then move forward. So definitely there is a change as far as the recruiter category is concerned. I think the kind of people that you need today is different. And likewise, as I said, there's definitely an education that's required, just not at the HR level, but also at the business level. I mean, they need to know what is it that they're trying to hire and who they need to hire, and translate that into a very clear job specification.
The job description
right. I mean,
argument that you brought
correct.
up earlier.
It's not the role that I'm looking for. I would rather go back and say that what are some of the key things that they're looking for in the individual. I think they need to come back, specifically giving that information.
We have also come up with the unique method of hiring wherein we are developing the individual scorecards for individual positions, which consist of the what is the mission of that position, the outcomes, the competencies, and whether we can relate that specific position to the core values of the organization. So that kind of scorecards are being developed, and then accordingly we are giving it to recruiter for recruitment. And then most of behavioral checks in terms of we start with the HR screening, wherein the HR talks not about your career goals and what are you good at, what are you not good at. Is there anything which you've really done something really great in your career? So all of those things are being discussed more in HR screening than anything else. Then if everything fits well, then we go into the specific things like salaries and other things.
So I think for me, the strategy is changed to kind of get the social media platform into the recruitment strategy, but not that, at the cost of the conventional ways. So when I say that, what I mean is that when I have the luxury of being proactive, I'd rather stick to the social media platform, but when the need of the hour is being reactive, you've got to get back to the typical sourcing methods.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the interview, when we interview people for the recruiting assignment, so the entire, earlier people used to say that in the CV it's mentioned that they source from the social media. There is a lot of detailed check on whether this person really understands social media, what is the technology involved, to what extent is he up to date with the technology, because it's not just about logging into a LinkedIn page, and there's a lot more to it. So, and what is his influence when he comes in on the rest of the group? You basically move up the value chain in terms of how you basically source. So this is now slowly becoming a fundamental aspect. So.
I think the biggest shift has been that we are not really looking at rejecting candidates. But I think when the recruiter is now trained to shortlist and do a more selective screening of candidates, and then when we do interview candidates, we are trying to look at selecting them with stronger gap analysis. So actually speaking, the way we have looked at it is that we are now really not wanting to interview 10 people and reject 9 and select 1. We'd like to interview 3 people and select all 3 and say this is 100% fit, 80% fit, 70% fit, and we want to take 2 or 3. So I think we have been more looking at how can we sharpen the way that we screen resumes. Therefore, the recruiter is now getting more and more technical, and like he said, he's becoming more like a detective. He actually detects a lot of gaps in the person, and what are the gaps that we can use. And I think that's been the best change that we have made, because consciously we have tried to tell our technical panels, don't reject. You select everyone, but you say, what more do you want in that type? Because that makes the job so much easier.
So now I'd like to sort of jump to another topic that we've been discussing for the past hour or so, and we've had various ideas around it. The branding aspect of the social media, of having Facebook pages, LinkedIn pages, connecting to employees through these niche communities, etc. How do employers react to employees commenting on organizations or employers on the social media? Do you jump into those conversations? Do you do you preempt that that there are sort of communities where employees are talking about you, probably your current employees, discussing your compensation trends, the work-life balance that you give them, the flexible work arrangements that you give them. So employers are being analyzed by their employers. How do you handle those conversations? Do you become a part of them?
I've seen many people commenting about different topics or different issues within the organization, and it has been taken very seriously by the organization. When I say seriously, somebody is talking anything negative, an introspection is done within the organization. What is that going wrong, and or where is that organization has done wrong. So definitely an attempt is made to correct if it is wrong, definitely. But also, if anybody is talking good about the organization, it is also highlighted at different platforms. Saying that look at this, we are doing this is good things, and the outsiders are talking good about that. If you look at most of these are freshers only. Even if 1 month delay in joining, they'll start making all kind of noises about joining. But then there are people who are specifically handling these accounts, whether it is Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. People are there, and they know what to or how to respond. Obviously, you cannot just shout at them and just ask them to keep quiet. So you have to take deal with them in a very different manner and ensure that they don't go disheartened basically. So yes, an attempt is made. Any comment is taken seriously, whether it is good or bad, and ensured that it is taken in a right and positive way.
So you might be interested to know that some of the professionals that we interacted with through our other dialogue series came to us and said, it would be interesting if social media provided us a tool where exiting employees could talk to us and tell. We spend a lot of money doing exit interviews, etc. So it would be interesting if exiting employees, there was a gentleman from IBM who spoke to us and told us this, that if they would tell us what their experience was like and how we can better it for our current employees.
Yeah, but I would go a step further. If you can give us a feedback post 30 days,
Correct.
I think that's important for us.
So I was about to add, it's not the current employees.
Because
it is the exit, ex-employees who are
during the
bothering
exit
you.
process, nobody is going to talk bad about them.
Yes.
Anybody.
वो full and final होना बाकी है ना?
Absolutely. No, not only full and final. Why would he,
No, nobody wants to burn
Burn
bridges.
bridges.
why and break relationships with the internal employees?
So typically what we have seen is that all the rant that you see on the internet about the organization is not from the guys who are working in the organization. It's from the ex-employees. It's mostly from the ex-employees.
See, that's why having this alumni network is so
Yes,
important,
yes.
right? I mean, we have this philosophy that you leave as ambassadors, right? I mean, if that's where the intent is, I'm pretty sure the guy would be very keen to, get back. I know I've got still scenarios where people get back. I'd like to know what happened for this particular project, what really happened to this particular client. I mean, people are still wanting to know about it, right? I mean, there is a sense of belongingness, there is a sense of identity created. So I think we need to leverage that particular catchment area, and I think if social media can help us out, I mean, nothing like it. Yeah.
So Manoj, just to take your example, these are all anonymous feedback. Did you get a negative, positive, or you
See, I mean, there have been instances where people, some comments did come, and when we actually found out, that was a guy we never offered. I mean, it was like somebody else is commenting, and then I mean, obviously you cannot shout at him, on the social media itself. But then obviously suddenly you have to tell him, please call and we will discuss. But the trend has been saying that people who have been offered do not talk much, but people who are who are not even connected by any way, they keep talking about they keep making noises. Then you cannot stop.
30 days school of decade is also good in the sense that he's seen the other organization.
Exactly.
And so on.
Exactly. Because
basically weighing the whole
right.
thing.
Because I've got scenarios where we try to tell him that the pasture there is much better or less better, but after 30 days the guys come back and says, you're right.
Yeah.
And then he feels it difficult because he just he can't come back and say, can I join back? Because it's hurt his ego, right? But if I have a third party who can convey that message back to me saying that he's willing to shift, I mean, so be it. Why not reach out to that particular area?
See, also what we've seen is that in the internet, I've been in the internet space for about 18 years now. So what we've seen is people only rant in the internet.
Yeah.
They don't write. So nobody's going to write good things about your organization. Let's face it. So they only going to write bad things. They will write good things only if you give them an opportunity to write. Otherwise they'll not write. See, even if an iPhone is bothering me, I'll go and write shit about the organization, iPhone and the product and the organization. But if I'm happy with the iPhone, I'm not going to go and write about.
You won't write good things about.
Good things about.
Yeah.
So if you give them an opportunity, then they will write. They'll surely write. And the best way to give an opportunity is your existing employees. TripAdvisor does exactly that. So TripAdvisor, what it does is that it gives you an opportunity to write about the hotel that you stayed immediately after you've done your trip. So it will